Good morning, YouTubadors and YouTubians. Welcome to Morning Coffee. It's a brisk 41 degrees out there this morning. Yeah, gonna have to start getting ready for winter. I'm gonna go out there and get that well house, check it out. And actually, I've already checked it out a few months ago. I had the pressure switch go out in it. Woke up one morning, went to turn the water on. I noticed the water was getting weird and not flowing right, and so one morning I went to turn on the faucet, nothing. So I went out there and got to looking around. I tapped on the pressure switch and it kicked on, so I knew that those things get worn out after time. So I put a new pressure switch on, everything was good, and I thank God it wasn't the well pump, because that same well pump that I've got in there that I paid $150 for in 2014 is now like $350, and yeah, so pressure switch was $25, so that was an easy fix. That's just one of the, I had a lot of people ask, is there land available there? Have you seen anything for sale? Up until probably 5-6 months ago, maybe even later than that, there was all kinds of cheap land for sale. It depends what you're willing to do. When you think of homesteading, you got there. There's different levels of that. So you got to think about several factors. What I think homesteading is buying a piece of property that needs extensive work, or doesn't even have a home site, or never has had, or has, that like in my case, sat abandoned for many years, and just about everything had to be redone. You can buy a piece of raw land, start from scratch. It just depends what you want to do, and a lot of things. I watch a channel called My Self Reliance. His name is Sean James, and he also has another channel just named Sean James, and he goes into detail about that. He gets the same questions, and he says, the number one thing is your health. Okay, now you can be somewhat unhealthy and buy a homestead, but you better have, you better have people willing to help you and get you started. And even then, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, depending on where I live. I wouldn't consider where I live way out in the country. I always joke to people around here. I say, yeah, one day I'm gonna move out to the country, and they're like, we're in the country. Not with all the commotion that goes on around here, with y'all going back and forth and everything. So, but it's out there, it could be worse. If I had my choice, I'd be out totally isolated, within a good, reasonable distance from supplies and things like that. When I haven't had television in probably 10 years. When I first moved here, I lived in that fifth wheel for a year and a half on a friend's piece of property, and I didn't have television. And you don't even really need it anymore. Anything you need's on the internet. I don't watch the news I might get on in the morning, check out the news, make sure that our world didn't blow up yet. Other than that, I don't click on stories. I don't care. I really don't care anymore about the craziness going on in politics, and I kind of keep up on veterans affairs and things like that, but the riots and all that, I could care less. I could care less about all that. I've shut myself out of that life. It doesn't, when it starts coming into my neighborhood, then I'm going to pay attention. But a lot of those people that are doing that, they're never going to come here. But if you're looking, I had a guy ask last night, is there any land here for sale? And The answer is yes. But also the answer is that piece of land that you could have got for $20,000 just a year ago is now going to be double that. And people are snatching it up quicker. I mean, you get onto the local realtor websites and they're begging for people to sell so they have something to sell, because everything that goes up on the market is bought up right away. This place next to me, I never dreamed they would sell that for $40,000. I would not have given $10,000 for that place, and it sold extremely. I mean, within days after going up, it sold for $40,000. And somebody's there now. They brought in a travel trailer and they're gutting the place and doing what I did. I have not met them yet. I had people coming up to me when I was in the middle of all this, and just give them time to settle in. But it just depends what you want to do. Not necessarily budget. I had $22 in my pocket when I showed up in Arkansas, and I didn't come here necessarily planning to do what I've been doing. It was just, well, let's go there and see what happens. I had other job offers, but I took this, and it's worked out. Everything that's happened to me since getting here has worked out. Not saying it hasn't been a struggle, but everything has worked out for the better. It's just been amazing. But it's, I'm not young. I'm not extremely old, but I'm not young. I'm in my middle 50s, and there's things that are a little hard to do. I mean, especially if you have somebody with you, that makes it a whole lot easier. I don't. I prefer it that way. A lot of people ask me, when you get married? Well, I'm not. I am happy being single, living out by myself. I foresee that being troublesome later, not having anybody around. But also at the same time, it makes you a lot more independent. You figure out ways to do things that you would normally need two people to do. It makes you work harder at it. It makes you a better person. And I ain't saying there's anything wrong with marriage and relationships and all that. I've went that route. I've tried it. And most of the time it was my fault. Back in the day, I was a wild one. And it didn't work for me. That was not the lifestyle for me. I had plenty of opportunities. I was married twice. I don't want to do that anymore. In today's society, relationships, if you can make it 5 years, then you got it made. But most of them, they don't even make that. Everybody's too independent thinking. I don't know. It just takes a special couple. My brother, they've been married, I think they got married in the early 80s, and they've still been married, have kids, got lots of grandkids, and that's great. That's not a life for me. It never has been, and I don't see nothing wrong with that. Who's to tell me what I do is not normal? Maybe I think what you do isn't normal. We all have our own choices, and it's my right. If I want to live to be an old hermit, by myself, I don't look at it that way. Others do. Oh, you're an old hermit off living by yourself. Recently, me and Jeff from Bobblehead Homestead, we've had somebody get on, troll, whoever. We don't know who this person is, and they're accusing us of being this and being that, and just nonsense. And you're hiding. You're off in the woods hiding. Well, that makes a lot of sense. If we're off hiding from something, why are we on YouTube? we can't. I warned him about this person, and he sent me a text the other day. He said, "Yeah, she said she got on there and said something bad about me, and I had to delete her." And I don't even know if it's a real name or whatever it is, but you get up on YouTube and you got thousands of followers and stuff. You're going to get that. And you just got to, I know everything going on in my life, so I'm not worried about it. There's that remove from channel button, and it worked. And yeah, maybe they can make up a new name and come back on, but I want to tell you something about me. I do not get embarrassed. That's one emotion I can honestly tell you I've never had, and you could probably tell from the things I do. Nothing embarrasses me. Okay, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I don't let those emotions enter my life. Yeah, there's so many people they want to start a YouTube channel. Oh, I'm too embarrassed. I don't understand that. I don't understand that emotion, being embarrassed. You know, to me, if you're embarrassed about something, you're ashamed of something. And I ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. There's a lot of things I've done in my life that I wish I could do different. But you can't go back and fix it. You can only go forward and learn from that. That's all you can do. So, you know, if it's your dream to buy a ratted out place like I did, tear it apart board for board and tear everything and go for it. There are places out there. You just got to look. And don't rely on just the internet. This place was not on the internet. It was a place that the lady had died, and they didn't pay for the funeral. I don't know how that works, because I think you got to pay for most funerals in advance. You know, but this is a small knit community, so maybe there was some relationships between the funeral home and whoever it was. Maybe they were related. I don't know. But anyway, it didn't get paid. Basically, all I had to do was put in a bid. I asked how much is owed, and they told me, and that's the bid I put in, and it's what I got it for. But that wasn't advertised. I had to go to, it's a local title office. Any lawyer's office that deals in, you know, wills and probate, stuff like that. You know, you might check with, see if they know of any properties. Heck, call some funeral homes. You know, a lot of places have liens on homes. Check your taxes, delinquent tax list. You know, I think, yeah, gets if you pay the taxes, there's certain. I'm not an expert in any of that, but I just fell into this, and here we are. So it worked out good for me. With that being said, it wasn't free. You know, I worked very hard. I put a lot of money into this place. You know, I bought my lumber from the sawmills, which was a whole lot cheaper. And I got good cedar. I couldn't go do that now. Even the sawmills are expensive. Even with lumber prices coming back down, I don't see that staying there. So that's something you may want to consider also. If I buy a place and get it cheap, what's it going to cost me? So, you know, a lot of people I bought the fifth wheel. I didn't actually buy it for that reason. At the time, I just bought it so I'd have something to stay in, because I showed up here with nothing. And, you know, it ended up coming in handy when I did find this place. You got to consider the winters, man. I woke up in that thing, and you can heat the inside of it, but they're still going to be cold, and it's a hassle, and it costs you a lot to heat those things. Even the newer ones, you know, they're not built for winter living. They're just not. If you have some kind of enclosure around it, that helps. But I woke up one morning, it was so cold, the door had frozen, the aluminum door had frozen. I couldn't get out. I could not get out for hours, and I was trying everything. I was wishing I had a hair dryer or something like that, but I didn't. I don't remember what I ended up doing. I think I ended up just kicking it in or something as hard as I could, but I wanted out. And that's something you got to consider too. And anywhere you're going to find cheap property to make a homestead nowadays, it's going to get cold in the winter, because all the warm places, they're too expensive. You know, San Diego, and you don't want to live there anyway. Florida is nothing. You know, both coasts of Florida is nothing but a city, all the way from the top to the bottom, and those places are expensive. Not only, especially in Florida, you might buy a mobile home, you're going to still be paying HOA fees. I could never pay that to somebody. I've never understood that. You know, we all have our own opinions, and And now I'm here, place is paid off, and doesn't mean life's still not a struggle. It is. It's a big struggle. Well, you just got to keep at it. I believe it keeps you in check, keeps you healthy. It's not a bad way to go, And I said before, I'm not off grid. I don't raise all these animals and all that. Not that I wouldn't want to. It's just too much work for me right now. I'm happy with my chickens and my dogs, and I'm toying with the idea of going with a lot more chickens here in the near future. So I'm gonna go out there today and kind of look at this chicken areas and see what I can do for more chickens. But I definitely, the groceries, they're going to be in short supply, so I want to start raising some meat bird. And I don't even really like chicken, the meat. I'm not a big fan of chicken unless it's in something like fajitas, or I cannot sit there and bake a chicken and sit there and eat baked chicken or fried chicken. I just never. When I was younger, I didn't mind chicken. Something about it. And turkey, I've never liked turkey. If I had a turkey, it'd be for amusement, pretty much. More or less a pet. But I guess when you get hungry enough, you'll eat anything. And not saying chicken's bad, I can't sit there and eat a lot of it. Like I say, it has to be in, if it's in a gravy or something like that, I can eat it. But as just a piece of meat, just sit there and eat it, I don't care for it that much. Actually, any kind of fowl, I'm not too crazy about. But a chicken's an amazing animal. They do a lot of things for you. They'll provide you fertilizer. They provide you eggs. I mean, it's an amazing creature that God has given us. And when you see, I did that for the last 3 years working at a ranch, and that's primarily what we had was chickens. And they're just amazing, And so I'm thinking I'm going to probably add maybe 2 flocks. Waddles and his crew, they're all old. They're not going to be good for breeding. Waddles, he's not old. He's about 1.5 years old. So, but he's fully capable. He's a fully functional, healthy rooster, other than the way he walks. That's just a birth defect he had. Or he had an injury. I'm thinking it's a birth defect, because if he had an injury, it wouldn't be both legs. And I have seen a lot of chicks born walking the way that he does. It's just something that happens with them. Usually we take them out right then, but I'd pull in every day when he was a baby, and as soon as we got him out of the brooders and he was free ranging, he'd come running up to me, and the other chickens would come peck on him, and he'd just fight right back. And so he kind of grew on me, and there he is, But I'm going to have to corral him pretty soon, and he's got spurs that are probably 1.5 inches long. I'm going to have to cut them down, so I'm going to have to gather him up and get my Dremel out, cut his spurs off. Because the way he walks and squats, it's probably not going to be good if they're long. So we'll get that done. I won't record that. He won't like it. Trust me. He's only been handled 1 time, so he ain't going to like being handled. All right, guys. Just another rant and little info and just my experience. So happy trails.